More B3. Let's have more B3 over
more B3.
Every song.
More vitamin B3 for
please.
everyone.
Yes, please. Please.
That's a shirt.
Church Jams now.
Welcome to Church Jams Now, the podcast where three former youth group kids and current music nerds deep dive into Christian music from the 90s and 2000s. I, of course, am your co-host, Kylan Savage. With me, as always, is Mr. TJ Smith. Catching that Southbound Train.
You caught me sipping my apple cider, Kylan, because it's the fall times, man.
Yes. This is the dude version of pumpkin spice latte season.
That's right. I've got a cinnamon spice whiskey.
Ooh, I like that. Fireball.
Yep.
And of course we have beautiful
It's classier
producer,
than
Josh.
that, man.
Oh, sorry. Fireball on the rocks.
It's some Portland company that you've never heard of.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Josh, what's up?
Nothing much. I think a famous author said it best that, September came in with golden days and silver nights. And that's the way things are feeling now that it is fall. It was not Mr. Foreman, but it was the one and only J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh.
But it feels applicable for
I've
this
heard
time
him.
of year, Yeah. Real obscure author.
Right.
You guys
He
probably
wrote
Star Wars, right?
Game of Thrones. Oh,
Yeah.
damn it. We're going for the same joke.
Oh. Both wrong. It was Harry Potter, Kylan.
Yes to
Oh,
both, actually.
yeah.
It's yes to
Yeah.
both. He was extremely prolific.
Yes to both. Oh my God. It's insane.
The father of modern fiction.
Yes.
Yeah. No
Oh,
kidding.
we're totally selling the Patreon with this one, right?
Exactly.
For sure.
So, it is fall. I beg the listeners to just take a minute, look out your window, see how many leaves are changing.
Unless you're in the southern hemisphere.
Right.
In which
And this
case,
does not
how
apply to
hot is it right now?
Yep.
And how miserable are you?
We're covering fall. Fall. Just
That's it. That's
as a concept.
That's it.
we're just talking about.
We're not
going
gonna
to
tell you who it's by
as an idea
or what it is.
Don't.
general things that go along
So
with
let's
Nothing.
all take a drink from our pumpkin spice lattes and enjoy.
The autumnal bounty.
Oh, I like that. Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
hold
you're
on.
welcome.
I'm going to steal that. And enjoy. Okay, edit point. And enjoy the autumnal bounty. My favorite part.
Patented TJ Smith.
I like doing bits like that because I like keeping them in.
it. Oh yeah. I know you're not going to take it out.
Let's just see how petty we all get.
Yeah. This has been kind of a long time coming, right? We're covering the first
I
of
think
Jon
so.
Foreman's season EPs. Is there like an official name for these, Josh?
I mean, it got released as fall and winter on like
Okay.
the CDs, but I think he just calls
Yeah.
them. I think they're just the seasons EPs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I think
Well, we're
that's what-
covering
how
the
I've referred
first.
to them.
It feels like there's a nip in the air.
Which is, it's interesting, isn't it, that it starts with fall? I wanted
It
to
is
talk
interesting.
about that
Yes.
with y'all.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if he's addressed that or, if we have any hot takes about it, but I just think it's really fascinating that not so much that it starts with fall, because that actually does, that part of it makes sense to me. Okay. So like on a narrative level, like a beginning that is like, a little bittersweet, because you don't want to start with an intro to a narrative that's too sweet, because then you kind of lose your audience, right? Like people are like, okay, so what's the conflict? There's no conflict. So it makes sense that it's fall. Winter would be like brutal and kind of a bummer place to start a story. But fall makes sense. But the thing that I find interesting is that means that then we're going to end with summer, which feels, we won't get into it too much because we'll cover it when we cover that one. But just on a macro level, in a narrative sense, summer feels like a big celebratory moment. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just an interesting place to close a story. Does that make sense?
When you think about Jon Foreman and specifically Switchfoot, which season do you most correlate them with?
Good point.
Yeah. No, I mean, summer makes
well
sense.
done.
Like, even narratively, yeah. Like, let's end on a big celebration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, because I guess it's the part of it that's weird to me is that it's not ending on spring being new beginnings. New beginnings then ending up being the halfway point, essentially. So that's just an interesting kind of paradigm to set of like bittersweet beginning, bummer middle. It really is an Empire Strikes Back situation. And then like spring being new beginnings, but kind of in a halfway point spot. And then big celebration like summer kind of being the end. That part of it, I guess, makes more sense. But the spring, the new beginnings thing being in the middle, that's kind of an interesting choice. I'm not going to say it's wrong. I don't feel that way about it at all. I just thought it was an interesting paradigm to create with this work that Jon Foreman approached as he decided to delve into seasons with his solo career. I just
and
I
get
find it
not
really
wanting to
fascinating.
end it on winter too, and be like, here's this really bummer note that we're gonna end things on. So
that would be so rough.
yeah, it would be rough.
But I like it personally. So I like created a straw man argument to just tear it down. I think ending on summer is awesome. I'm here for it. Y'all know I'm a big summer guy. Like, so I'm okay with it ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, I think like for Jon Foreman, like coming from this like rock band that is very associated with like a California summer kind of sound.
Yep. Right.
Like
Eternal
starting
summer.
with fall feels like a really good shorthand for, I'm a little bit more mature, right? Like I've kind of pushed past this like summer rock and roll kind of thing,
but
and
also
I'm like a serious artist
that we'll get back to the summer vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, it feels like a really easy artistic statement of maturity of starting with fall.
Cool. Well, thanks for delving into that.
No, I think it's important to
stuff with me.
address, because like it wasn't just like willing. Like there was a reason why he did it that way. So I like digging into that.
Yeah, it was cool to unpack it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel better.
So
That's what's important.
Yeah. So we're talking about the season's EPs. We're starting with fall, just in time for fall. Josh, how do you feel about this? Like, I feel like you're really excited that we're gonna start doing these when those seasons start. Like,
yep.
This is the kind of thing I dream about orchestrating, like everything
this feels like the
falling
most
into place.
BPJ moment of all time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Should we actually change your acronym to Machiavellian producer, Josh? Like
I love that.
That rolls off the tongue a little bit better,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you stick with the acronym, MPJ is pretty good.
I'm not
MPJ.
beautiful anymore. Is that what you want to talk about, TJ? That's the heart behind this.
Guys,
No,
if you like this, we have more nonsense like it at our Patreon at patreon.com/Church Now Podcast.
Plug.
For the main feed, we're gonna shut that down. Okay, I want to talk about this record. Josh, I want to hand it over to you, not only for research, not only for context, but why we're deciding to cover this now.
The research, I'll say, is a little short for this because it's an EP and it kind of came out a little bit under the radar. That does improve as things go on, of course. But so research is short, so we'll kind of go there first. But Fall was released November 27th of 2007. So at the time of recording, it's 16 years old. Is Jon Foreman's first solo offering. So it's interesting. He's done obviously another EP series, and then as of now, earlier this year he came out with his second solo LP. But it's interesting that this was like his first thing. This is the first thing I'm doing outside of Switchfoot. It was released on the label Lowercase People, which is something that Jon runs. It was produced by Jon. There's no charts in performance because just an EP and kind of the first one didn't kind of flew under the radar, I'll say.
Right.
Runtime is 6 songs at 21 minutes and 59 seconds. So it's the second shortest Seasons EP, which tracks since I feel like for me, fall is one of the shorter seasons here in Texas. So unfortunately, it kind of tracks, you know. And so we're covering this around the first day of fall. I have them. I tried to line it up as close to like the first day of each new season of the autumnal equinox, if you will, which is also
Excellent.
ties into Bilbo and Frodo's birthday, which also in my quote from earlier. Fun fact.
Josh, you
Look at
put
you,
so
staying
much
on theme.
more thought into this podcast than TJ and I do by like tenfold.
No, that was
hey,
just a happy.
whoa, watch it.
Well,
Watch it.
hey, TJ, I'm trying to compliment Josh, right? Like,
It's the least thing you can do after saying I'm not beautiful anymore, TJ.
That's true. I bring way too much lyrical analysis to the table to be
no,
like,
for
I
sure.
don't bring
No,
anything.
No. I'm not
but
saying
it is never going to
don't
be the
bring
kind of
anything.
thing that Machiavellian Josh brings to the table.
No.
right. Like he's
Never.
behind the scenes, like he's thinking
pulling those
about
strings. Equinoxes?
like lunar
Yeah, I don't think about
movements.
equinoxes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like that is insane to me, but I love
That's a good point.
Normal
That's a good
people
point.
think about that stuff, right? Right?
Totally,
You're the
man.
only
Oh,
one.
cool. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Seasons.
You
I'm
and
a
my
big-
wife.
I'm a big seasons guy. You know,
She's always
So I love
telling
it.
me. She's like, it's the summer equinox now. And I'm like, all right, I love you. Sure.
Glad you're excited about that.
Yeah.
Good for you, Kaylin. You and me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
right.
gets it. Yep.
Yep, she does.
To go along with all that, we're doing something new at Church Jams now, where we're going to start releasing some Patreon exclusive episodes. They're going to be available to our patrons only for the full
right.
episode. But for you main feeders out there, you main feed jammers, we're still going to release our part A's out there. So you get to hear some facts about the record and hear us talk about some like personal history to it. But the bulk of the critical analysis that you've come to love,
the track by track. analysis.
diving
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
That's going to be available on Patreon, but for a very low monthly rate because we want everyone to enjoy it. We're not trying to lock this up at $10 a month. We want everyone there just at a base level. If you want to hear the part B of this, it'll be available there, and we'll be doing more of these as we go on monthly or in different installments.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how
Yeah.
that's gonna work.
Consider this a soft launch.
Yeah, it felt like a soft launch, and the idea was to kind of go into the next year of 2025. But we've been wanting to cover these on the show for a while, so this felt like a fun way to kind of ease into it with some EPs and to coordinate
yes.
it with the seasons, and then boom, we can launch into it full
With
bore
the
next
equinoxes,
year. With the
where-
equinoxes, we're in line with the
like
lunar
Josh
eclipse.
has like a lunar calendar, figuring out the exact date on which to release these. It's insane. I love it.
Yep, it's true.
It's pretty great.
Well, thanks, guys. I'm glad you all are here for it. So that's what we'll be doing with this episode and with the other future seasons EPs and some other full-length LPs down the road as well.
Yeah.
So speaking of the season's EPs, Josh, when you gave us that release date, was that for fall and winter? Because I know there was a release where they came out together. Was that release date for fall and winter together?
No, it was not. It was just
Okay.
fall. Fall was released, I think, just digitally on November 27th.
Okay.
And then
This was in the big days of
January-
iTunes.
It was. And then in January, winter was released, and at the same time, it was bundled together physically with fall.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
So
Yeah,
that's
okay.
when they got the shared release.
Correct.
later
Yep.
The next year. Got you. Yeah, that was a point of clarification I was trying to figure out because I couldn't suss it out myself.
Important thing
I
to ask,
needed
TJ.
Machiavellian Josh.
That's what I'm here for. I took a little bit of time to look that up after obviously poring over my my lunar calendar, so I did find some time.
You kept your priorities straight.
Yeah,
I get it.
Wait, so this was released physically on the Chinese New Year, but it was released digitally on the
Got multiple calendars.
Greco-Roman.
I got like the clocks in different time zones around the world, like in calendars under those. Like, yep.
Look, man, all I know is I'm a Leo, and that's enough for me.
There you go. That's all you need.
That's all you need. Yep. So enough about me and my calendars. I want to hear about some personal stuff with this EP specifically. And maybe, like for me, I want to hear about it from Kylan, because Kylan, you kind of introduced me to these EPs.
Ooh, yeah, I did.
Whether you knew it or not. So
No, I
would love to hear about that.
I think I knew it. So I still have the Fall and Winter CDs. I still have them in my car. Ooh, nice.
This isn't Kylan's. This is actually mine.
No, yeah.
I didn't steal his like I stole Joe's.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be mad if you did.
Josh is the keeper of the physical media.
This came out 2007, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had gone through a weird sort of like rise and fall with Switchfoot by the time this came out. And I was kind of like, I was in my full hipster phase when we were in college. And like, okay, well, screw Switchfoot. That's youth group stuff, right? But then this came out and I was like fully on board with the sort of sad indie folk thing. And I remember having both of these, both Fall and Winter, in my minivan. I do remember specifically like driving around listening to them with you, Josh. I didn't know that it made this much of an impression because, fun fact, I have not listened to Spring or Summer.
Ever?
At all?
Ever.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was like fully out.
You're like, winter's good. I'm done.
I'm a fall and winter boy.
But
Happy Jon Foreman? Not for me.
Yeah, but that also makes sense, I feel like, for me. Like I'm more of a fall guy.
Yeah.
I'm a shoulder seasons guy. So I loved these so much. And then I was just like I completely forgot about Jon Foreman as a solo artist.
That's how much they meant to you,
Well, no, but like those two albums or EPs meant a ton to me and still do to this day. Mm-hmm. I just haven't dug into much else.
That's fair. Well, I'm glad that we get to experience that in the upcoming future together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And that's pretty typical for you, Kylan. Like, I mean, you've gone on record on a lot of episodes to explain that, like, you had a big moment with a lot of artists that we've covered, and then you were out. So,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
this is no different,
Yeah.
You were all about the fall winter vibes from John, and then you were like, I'm good,
Yeah.
moving on.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, like Josh said, I'm excited to dive into spring and summer too, especially because you bring an interesting vantage point of being very like aware of and familiar with fall and winter. So like half of this conceptual project you're super connected to,
Right.
and then
the other
half of it you'll be like,
so not. Yeah.
I got nothing.
like to the point, like if I was to make a list of like my top 10 favorite EPs of all time, I like Fall would fully make that list, and I have zero connection with Spring and Summer.
Or nothing.
That's funny.
It is funny.
That's just me. I'm here.
Excited. Yeah. I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this one then, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Me too. Yeah, because that was also what I want to hear is like where these kind of, I know TJ doesn't like ranking things, but like where they rank if you had to like say, this is my favorite of the EPs and kind of where they all fall.
You know
That's
what,
also very
Josh?
curious for me.
Somehow, like, because they all have very distinct identities, each of these EPs, I think it will actually, that's like an access point for me that makes it easier to rank something, I think, because I'll be able to like have a feeling about each one that is a lot more than just a number, but then I'll be able to assign a number to it based on the resonance that it has, based on the season, and based on like how I connect to that season and how I think he did at synthesizing that season sonically. Say that 10 times fast.
Synthesizing that season sonically. Oh, I like that.
Great job.
Good. Yeah.
Great job. Because that's basically what he did, right? So,
Right.
yeah, I think I'll be able to do it, Josh. I think I'll be able to number
right, good.
these.
Good.
I feel confident.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
TJ, do you want to take it away?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear
so
more
as far
about
as my
it.
connection to these EPs, like it was funny hearing what Colin was saying about like being in the hipster phase and like, oh, it's youth group stuff. I'm over it. Like that also pretty much to a T summed up how I felt at this point. But I went a step further and I was like, oh, the guy from Switchfoot did a solo thing. That's cool, but I'm still cooler than that.
Right.
And I'm not going to listen to it. That felt like a step backwards where like I was trying to get more, at the time it was probably scenester, to be honest. It was like proto hipster, like more scenester cred. I was going to Buffalo Exchange and like, buying blazers that probably some old dude died in and his nephew like sold to Buffalo Exchange and then I bought it. I was too busy to be listening to Jon Foreman's seasons EPs, but I was aware of them. I remember my freshman year at DBU, people were talking about Jon Foreman's fall. And I remember thinking, oh, that's kind of cool that he's doing that. I can appreciate the concept.
Right.
I remember hearing maybe a smattering of songs from it, but never like a front to back listen ever. And I could not have told you a single song title. I could not have told you any lyrics or any moments. Yeah, but it was the kind of thing that I could tell I appreciated the sensibility, but I just never spent time with.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Well, it also came right off the heels of the thrice alchemy index, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is what kind of like primed it for me.
It's funny that they were both doing this around the same time.
Yeah. It's like I heard alchemy index, and then that's what kind of got me to a point where I was like, oh, okay, well, I love this idea. And then this other person that I'm like familiar with as an artist is doing something kind of similar.
Relatively
Different
similar,
concept, but similar format.
It's like, the Netflix like recommends, like, if you like this, you might also like this. It's totally different, but it's like
basically the shorthand was like,
there's enough in common.
Yeah, like, oh, you're into some Joseph Campbell shit? Okay, you'll like both
right.
of these.
Yeah, exactly. Right. If you like Star
you're a
Wars,
musician?
You'll love Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon.
Right. Yeah. But like, I don't think we're saying that either one of those is Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, right?
Definitely not.
Like,
No,
let's just clarify.
To clarify.
For sure. This is way better than Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon.
For the Thrice fans out there and the Jon Foreman fans out there.
Right. That was just the first thing that popped in my head.
No, it makes sense. The if you like situation is very real between the Alchemy Index and this. But yeah, no, so I would say overall my familiarity with it was vague at best, but it was always something that I was like, that's pretty cool, and someday when I have some time, I'll probably dig into that. And then that day came, and here we are.
I love that.
Wow.
Okay.
Wait, are you going in with knowing these before, TJ?
Not much.
Really?
Like I said,
That
I've heard like a
surprises me.
smattering of songs from across all of the EPs at different points in my life because I was maybe hanging out with Kylan playing it, or like another friend playing it in their car or something to that effect.
Right.
It was like a cool move to have one of Jon Foreman's seasons EPs in your car at DBU.
Yeah.
Like that was like a cool, like it was like, oh, it's not a worship CD. It's Jon Foreman's seasons EP.
Yeah.
You know, so like
He's a little
I know
sad.
that I was getting
It's cool.
Yeah, exactly. I know I was getting exposed to these songs like here and there from folks, but I never like did like a
Wow.
deep dive at all.
Which I guess,
So-
because you never claimed any of this, but I just assumed that this was like a big TJ thing for you. I know the timeline worked
That's
out
the
to where you were
interesting
kind of
thing.
over Switchfoot at the time, but I was like, this seems like something
Yeah.
TJ would be all into.
No, completely. And that's the interesting thing is like digging into this, I was like, huh, I should have been listening to this.
Yeah.
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 So it's very funny. My scenester cred and desire to hold on to it got the best of me on this one, you guys.
Right.
Wow.
And I've admitted that a number of times on this
For sure.
podcast, and I will
think we all
continue
have.
to.
I'm so excited to actually like dig into the record
Yes.
with you.
Yeah,
For sure.
me too.
Josh, what about you, man?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was too cool and hipster to even know that Jon Foreman had a solo project. So it wasn't until Kylan and I think went to Mardell for the first time when you bought that Joan Zetta popularity CD and you like pointed out
Nice.
Jon Foreman's solo stuff. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know that. And it wasn't until years later. I don't remember when it was, but I do remember like by summer of 2013, I was fully engrossed in them, into all the concept of all the season stuff. So it did take a couple years. But this one for me is like, I love concept stuff like this. Like I love the Alchemy Index. I love the seasons EPs.
Yeah.
I love May kind of did a similar thing with morning, afternoon, evening. So I love concept stuff like this, and I'm a big seasons guy, so it's basically like the perfect project.
No,
for me
I know.
that I don't know.
You
Like
always
if-
ask me, what kind of season?
That's the thing. I love being like, hey, what season is this album? And then Jon Foreman's like, what if I made an album for each season? And like, you don't have to answer that question, but it's putting
There's no doubt
all of those things into sonic form, which I absolutely love. It's interesting going into this, which is why I wanted to ask y'all, but like fall is my favorite season. So as we're going through this listen of all of them, I would have said, if you had asked me which one's your favorite season's EP, I would have said fall. But I'm curious to know if it's just because of my affinity for fall in general is so high, or if it is actually for the music and separate from just because I love fall so much and what it conjures within me that I'm like drawn to love the fall EP the most.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But it's fun. I did not know that I was going into this being potentially the only one as of right now that is familiar with spring and summer.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's wild.
that is wild. That'll be fun to get into.
Okay, so let's give some flopper bop predictions.
Who's first?
I'll go first. Without knowing the back half of this and without having like fully engaged with this EP and the next one until this show, hard bop.
Nice.
Yeah.
Confident.
Yeah. I think some of John's best songwriting maybe potentially shows up on this EP.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
hard bop for me.
Those are
All
big
right.
words.
No, I know.
I mean, I already said that I think it's going to be hard for me to be critical of these. So I'm going to easy bop on the fall EP
All
for
right.
me. Easy big bop.
So I like approaching it from that place that you were talking about, Josh, of like, how do you identify with seasons and what's your favorite? And does that also match up with your musical tendencies or likes or dislikes? It's a moment of like kind of self-reflection for me because I love summer. I'm like here for it in a big way. But the Enneagram 4, like artistic, complex part of me is like, oh, well, fall is like the bittersweetness of fall is like so classically aligned with the kind of like artsy fartsy, melancholic disposition.
Right.
So knowing that and knowing Jon Foreman and knowing that he's just a poet philosopher that we admire lyrically. I feel like as a show we have spoken highly of his lyricism and Switchfoot's musicianship. And so even if you sort of like push all of that to the side as far as like a band, but think about the core kind of bones of a song before it gets the band treatment, quote unquote. I think if I were to approach this EP from just a totally unfamiliar place, I would still say, knowing Jon Foreman, knowing myself, and knowing the idea around like a fall EP, I think I would be like, that's a healthy bop from TJ.
Yeah.
Pretty confidently.
Yep. That tracks.
That'd be my prediction.
I love that. So, for main feed listeners, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of Fall by Jon Foreman. We're going to take a quick break. And then for Patreon and Apple subscribers, when we come back, we're going to go track by track and see how we ultimately feel about all of this.
It's true. But main feeders out there, if you guys want to find a cure for the pain of not having this part B, just sign up on Patreon. You can hear it.
I know.
Yeah. If you, for example, want to join the party, because we're going to get this party started on the other side of things, then you no longer have to be just merely main feed jammers. You can become part of the Patreon elite and get this party started with us.
Wow.
We'll see you on the other side.
Bringing it back to the DC talk. Are you down with the DC talk?
Because, there was the whole bit about we're going to say get this party started now instead of dive in.
Oh, yeah, no, I forgot. I totally forgot. No.
It was a layup, dude. It was a layup.
Hey, you know what? I think moving forward, I think we might retire the pulling a Stephen Curtis Chapman bit in lieu of are we ready to get this party started?
Get this party started.
Like, play like the sample. Let's get this party started.
I'm into that.
All right.
That could work.
It's a new phase.
Exactly.
Of the show.
Yeah. We're in the 100s now. We got to change it up,
Exactly.
That's right.
I think it's time. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I left you hanging like...
I mean, we could take it again.
That needs to all stay.
Yeah.
This all has to stay.
It's fine.
Wow. Forget our own bits.
Just trying to keep the lore alive.
Excited for it. Wow, way to remember.
Yeah, you were pumped about that.
He's like, we're retiring.
I thought for sure you would lock into that, but
I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. If you want to get this party started, Patreon. Is that worse? Does that feel like a little patronizing to you? I'm so sorry.
Yes.
But hey, listen, TJ, I know you're feeling so much pain, but I might have the cure for the pain.
No way.
Are you guys aware of the new, in quotes, Amber Lynn record?
Yes.
You are?
Of course.
Of course you are.
I'm up to date.
You're aware of at least half of the record. I know for sure.
Right. No, I'm a darling of #CCM Twitter. Of course I'm up to date on what Amber Lynn is doing.
You're a talking head in the CCM world now. Of course you know.
Maybe I should just say no. I'll just say no.
Cool.
That feels like an easier way to get into this.
Yeah, it lets me explain it a little bit more.
Yeah, tell me more, Josh.
Well, TJ, since you aren't aware, Amber Lynn has a new quote new record in quotes that consists of their EPs that they've released the last 2 years, and then 2 new singles with Maddie Mullins. It's called Vega, and you can purchase the CD and or the vinyl from our sponsor, CollideRecords.com.
Sweet.
And I know this for a fact because I've visited their website, but I took it a step further. I used my fingers.
Did you use those fingers, Josh?
I used them fingers, bro.
Oh, buddy.
I used my little digis, and I bought the CD from Collide Records, and it arrived just a couple days ago. And it's a rare but fun joy to buy a CD in 2024.
That's very true.
Yeah, and no better way to buy one than from Collide Records.
That's true.
I love it.
We're big physical media guys, so go buy the CD. Yeah, you could stream it, but why?
Yeah,
Buy the CD.
It's better.
And you know what? Josh, was there anything special that you did when you purchased that CD? You paid full price, right?
No, I didn't, Kylan.
Oh, you didn't? Why not?
Well, I used a promo code.
What?
I use our promo code, Church Jams Now.
Our promo code.
If you use our promo code,
That's
Church
crazy.
Jams Now, you can get 20% off any purchase.
20%?
Records.
Wow.
20%.
So what you're
That's
saying
amazing.
is if someone goes to colliderecords.com to purchase the new Anne Boleyn album on CD and they go to checkout.
And or vinyl.
And or vinyl. Wow.
Whoa.
And type in Church Jams Now and type in Church Jams Now at checkout. They'll get 20% off.
That is true.
That's incredible. So go do that.
Amazing.
What are you doing listening
do
to
it.
us? Go do
I did
that.
it, and I don't regret it. You should do it too.
Amen.
And I'm just here.
Jammers out there, if you're listening to this show and you want to support Church Jams Now, a great way to do that is to just get on your podcast listening app of choice and rate and review us. And you know what? We've had a couple new reviews lately. 5 stars, I might add. If that's not, is that a brag? Is that a brag?
It
to you
is.
all?
It is.
Okay.
It's a humble
Okay.
brag.
Okay,
But it's
it is.
okay.
I mean, but it's also true. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I thought I would take this moment to read one of them to y'all if you want to hear it.
Please.
Let's hear it, man.
This
Gas
review,
us up.
Yeah, this review is from Blue Cadet. The review goes, love this show. They go track by track through some of my favorite albums from the good old days of Christian music. Even better when they have guests from those albums. I will agree, it is even better when we have guests from those albums as well.
Yeah,
100%.
Same.
Yeah, for sure. That's our favorite thing. But you know what?
Yep.
Our second favorite thing is getting 5-star reviews from listeners like you out there. So thank you for leaving that 5-star review. And if you want to hear your review read on the show, leave us a 5-star review. Even if you don't leave a 5-star
5
review, we
stars.
might still read it. But
Yeah. No, it's very true. It's either 5 or 1, man.
No in between.
yeah, no middling.
No.
Well, I respect that people know what they're about. They're either like super into us and they let us know, or they're not and they let us know.
Yep.
So if you like that review, you can leave one of your own and then we can read it.
That does it for this main feed up. But if you want to hear the rest of the episode, join us on Patreon. Tiers start at just $3 a month, and you get access to Jammers-only episodes like this, bonus content, and a lot more. Head on over to patreon.com/churchjamsnow and join a tier today.